Do you want to get started with ActiveCampaign but have no clue on where to get started because everything just seems so overwhelming? Well, in this ActiveCampaign tutorial for beginners, I will walk you through all of the basics that you will need to know to successfully use ActiveCampaign for whatever you want. We are going to go over how to import and manage contacts, how to actually build up forms, sites, how to build up a normal email marketing campaign, how to build up automations, and a lot more. So make sure to actually watch this till the end. To get started, let's actually get ourselves an ActiveCampaign free trial. You can do so by using the link down below, which is an affiliate link, meaning that I'm going to earn a small kickback at no extra charge for you guys. Once right here, simply put in your email address to access your 14-day free trial. You will have to answer some questions, but honestly you can just skip through these and then access the dashboard. Once on the dashboard, let's get started by heading over to contacts on the left. If you already have some contacts on any other email marketing provider, you can either request a migration right here, or you can simply import your contacts as a CSV file, which is what I'm going to do. You can then map all of the data columns inside your CSV to the correct ActiveCampaign fields, so that all of the information is going to be stored accordingly. In most cases, this does a pretty good job doing this automatically, still make sure to double check. In my case, everything seems fine, so let's actually continue by selecting a list. Lists are going to be used to basically store your contacts and to categorize them. In this case, I'm simply just going to add them to the master contact list. We can then actually also add tags, so I'm just going to add a random task, and this is going to say imported, so that we now know all of the contacts with the tag imported have been imported. As for the import options, you can then actually go through these, but in this case I'm just going to click on import. We can then see that the import has been complete, and we can then actually also manage our contacts. I right now have my example contacts right here. We can then open these up, and this is then going to give us an in-depth view of everything going on with this contact, so that if this contact is, for example, enrolled inside an automation, you can actually also view that right here. You can also see all previously sent emails, and this is basically just going to be the general overview of everything about this contact. Now you can then actually also set up accounts. These are going to work as companies if you are going to use ActiveCampaign as a CRM, and you can then actually also set up lists inside here to basically once again categorize your contacts. If you would want to dynamically categorize your contacts based on activity, you could actually also set up segments, so that, for example, if a certain contact has enrolled in an automation, then they are going to be in this segment. But I'm not going to do that right now. Let me rather show you how to automatically get contact inside ActiveCampaign by setting up a pop-up or by setting up a landing page. So make sure to head over to website on the left, and right here we are then going to have two different options. First of all, forms, and then also pages. This is going to work relatively similar, but let's just get started by creating a new form. As for the form style, I'm going to select that I do want to do this as an inline form. You are also going to have the option to set up a floating bar, floating box, or a model. So I'm just going to name this test form 1, and the form action is going to be that this is going to subscribe to a list. In this case, I'm just going to select the master contact list once again. You could obviously also create a new list only for this exact form, but I'm not going to do that right now. You can also add another action, but I'm just going to create this form right now. Now, when actually clicking on this, we can fully customize everything going on inside here. Now, this is going to work relatively easy in a way that you can basically just drag and drop all of the different fields on this that you do want to get. So let's, for example, say that you do want to get the phone number. Well, in that case, simply just drag this on here. You can then actually select the different kind of fields, and you can then, for example, enable if this field should be required or not. So I'm just going to make all of these fields required, and we can then actually also change the text inside here. So I'm just going to change this to subscribe for my free checklist. And you can then actually also customize the button, you can change the text, and you can actually also change the overall style by changing that inside here. So this is going to include stuff like the background, the text color, and so on. So if you have certain kind of brand colors, you can obviously just customize that inside here. You can then actually also customize the thank you page right here or the form action. Now, let's actually now simply just integrate this, and this is then basically going to give us the option to embed this as a normal HTML file, or if you're using stuff like WordPress, you can actually directly download the WordPress plugin. Alternatively, you can actually also use this as a link, and you can then simply just paste this inside here, and you can then share this to get email subscribers. Now, right now, I still have the ActiveCampaign branding on, as this is a free trial. However, if you are going to go for a paid plan, this obviously won't be visible. Now, let's actually now opt out of this, and let's actually access let's click on previews, and let's now actually access the pages inside here. This is going to basically work really similar, but still I do want to quickly go over this. So let's just create a new page inside here. And you can then select any of these templates. I'm going to select the gravity template. You can of course also preview it if you want to. And I'm just going to use this template. Now these kind of pages are basically going to be more like a normal funnel, in a sense where you can actually add more info about the different kind of thing which you're selling, your lead magnet and so on. So as you can see, you're then going to have this page right here. You can fully change the text, you can fully change the images, and you can actually also add new elements on the right. You can do this by adding a new section, and by then simply just dragging a row inside the section, for example. And you can then actually customize this, you can change the background, you can change the corners, and so on. Let's actually for now delete this, and you could then basically add any kind of element onto this, but I'm just going to add an image. And we can then set up this image. Alright, so I've now added this random mockup from one of my previous tutorials, and of course you will then have to fully customize this depending on your own offer. We can however now preview this page, and this should give us a pretty good overview on how this is going to look like. We can then actually also access this button, and we can then actually also change the button action by clicking on here, and you then have basically tons of different options as for the button action. But for now, let's actually opt out of this. Let me now show you how to actually send out email. Let me now show you how to actually send out email campaigns. Now to access email campaigns, head over to the campaigns tab on the left, and you can then actually create a new campaign right here. We are going to just select a standard campaign. I will also show you how to set up automations in this video, but for now let's actually go over the standard email marketing campaign. I'm just going to click on next on the top right, and we can then actually access the subject line right here. So we can basically put in something which is going to incentivize people on actually opening this up. And the good thing about ActiveCampaign, you can actually fully customize this by adding different kind of fields like the first name, last name, and so on. So you can, for example, put in, hey Yuri, have you thought about this? And so on. Now, as for the actual subject line, I'm just going to put in, hey, and then I'm going to insert the name. We do have a new discount. And then as for the pre-header, I'm just going to put in, learn more about our spring discount. Obviously this is just a random example, but you would then have to create an email with the email designer. Now with this you can actually also create an email with AI, which I actually really like, and this basically kind of gets your brand identity based on all of the other stuff which you did, and this is then going to generate a video, basically it's going to generate an email for you. So let's actually let's preview this one. Okay, I actually really like this. However, this actually says Proton. I think because I've actually signed up with my Proton email, this actually thinks that my company is Proton, which isn't the case. But if it would be Proton, I think this is basically a bang on email. You can use you could send this out right away. However, if you would want to customize your brand kit, if this isn't genuine, you can simply just click on edit your brand kit. You can then set your company logos, your brand colors inside right here, and you can actually also change the brand kit details. And this, I cannot stress enough about this. This is super powerful, and really you can do a lot of the heavy lifting by using AI. However, you can of course also manually build up your email if you want to. In this case, I'm just going to show you how to do that using one of these templates right here. So let's just click on here, and this is basically going to work similar to the form editor. You can just, let's wait for this to load up. So right here, you can then just insert all sorts of different elements from the right. You can insert banners, social, videos, menu, timers. You can also add custom models. You can basically insert the structure of this email, and you can basically fully customize this. So you can then actually also select different elements, and you can change the text and so on. You can then click on next. Can then go over all of the other settings inside the campaign tab. So right here, as for the recipient selection, we can simply just select our master contact list, or you could, for example, also select another list or another segment. You can then actually schedule this if you want to. And as for the tracking and automations, I would recommend you to just leave this turned on. Like this, you're going to get the most out of your emails and you're going to receive a lot of data. As for the sender email address, right here, you will basically have to add your email address. Now, by law, it is going to be required to actually add a professional email. Now, in this case, you will have to insert your address. I'm just going to put in a random address right here. And this is then going to be saved as our address. Now, I can't send this right now because I haven't actually confirmed my email. In this case, I can just send out a verification email and I can then use this email. However, I would actually highly recommend you to get a professional email for your email services. So make sure to actually add an email from your company. And if you don't have a professional domain, make sure to get one. It literally just costs $1 or $2 by using a tool like Hostinger. And you can then get something like yuri@yuriloda.com, for example. This would be my email. Either way, we can then actually save and exit this. And let's now actually also quickly dive into the automations tab of ActiveCampaign. Now, the automations are probably by far the most powerful tool. Now, automations, you can access them. You can access them on the left right here, and these automations are probably by far the most powerful tool inside ActiveCampaign, and it's also the thing which ActiveCampaign is known for. So I'm just going to create a new automation right here, and we are then going to get, I literally every time I make a video about ActiveCampaign I say this, but we literally have thousands of different automations which we can all use, even in different kind of different languages. So this would be German, for example, Spanish, and so on. So I'm actually going to quickly use one of these automations to give you an overview. So I'm just going to open this up. However, of course, you can actually also build up an automation by scratch. You can then actually also use the automation setter wizard to fasten up the whole process of customizing this automation, but I'm just going to skip the setup for now. And let's now quickly go through on how an automation is actually structured. So first of all, you do have inside right here, you do basically have the trigger. This is going to be the starting point for your whole automation. You can actually also add multiple triggers, and this could be, for example, something like whenever someone subscribes to a list, or whenever someone submits a certain form, clicks a link in an email, replies to an email, and tag is added. This could be basically anything. You can also integrate ActiveCampaign onto your e-commerce platform like Shopify, and when you are going to have the trigger, when you are going to have the starting point, you can then add different kind of actions inside here. Now, some actions would be sending out an email, waiting for a certain period, or subscribing this contact to a certain list. However, there are countless different other options. You can, for example, use any of these send actions right here. So you can, for example, send a transactional email, send an SMS, send an international notification email. However, you can actually also change the workflow. So you can actually split test certain emails. You can put in an if-else statement. You can put in a goal, and you can basically also, you can do whatever you want. As for contacts, right here, this would be the way of actually adding different kind of contact actions. So you could, for example, set up an unsubscribe action whenever a certain contact hasn't opened any of the last 10 emails. Under CRM, you can then actually also update the status, add a deal, and so on of the CRM inside ActiveCampaign. And you can then simply just add this on here. You will then have to go through all of the settings, and you can then actually customize this inside here. And when you're going to add this, once this automation has some stats, this is then basically also going to show up the stats inside right here. So the open rate, click rate, and so on. And this is super powerful if you are, for example, going to set up a split testing stuff right here. So you can then basically split this. Let's do an even split. And you could then, for example, actually split test this whole thing, and you can then see how this email is going to compare to another email with another structure. So that's basically it for now. I will make an in-depth tutorial in the future, so make sure to like and subscribe for that, and make sure to check out ActiveCampaign with the link down below.